Hi, all my beautiful people. Just had a tech issue that's not getting resolved, and anyway, here we are. So it is the 30th of May, and tomorrow is the 31st, and it is a full moon. It is also a blue moon, and it is the second full moon happening in May. So some really exciting energy. Now, I'm not big into astrology, but from what I understand, there could be some intense things coming up, kind of where some of the planetary alignments are and things like that. But there are people who are way more educated on this and understand it way better. But I just thought we would do a full moon reading and kind of look at where things are at, where the energy is at. And I wanted to do this yesterday, but yesterday was, it was a day. I just felt a lot of emotion. And I don't know, it wasn't a great day. It wasn't a great day. I really need to decompress from some things and from a specific conversation, and I just didn't feel I was in the right headspace to do a reading. I'm still feeling pretty raw today, but in a much better headspace. And I don't know, I just woke up today and I was like, for some reason, I mean, I'm always a very femme presenting person, but I really want it to be very femmy. And I actually found this dress in my closet. I don't remember buying it or nor where it came from, but it is a dark pink. It is spaghetti strap, so you're gonna see my mom-ons. And sorry guys, a little bit of my bra, but it's also pink. But I had a sweater on early, like a light cardigan on earlier today, but it's kind of hot. So, but it's a very sort of Grecian goddess slash meet Jane Austen silhouette. It has the empire waistline. I don't know, it just felt very the vibe today, as did the color. Although let's be real, like 98% of the time I'm in pink. So I wore some heels with it. Oh, where are you going? Oh, you're just gonna roll over onto my tarot decks? Okay. All right. We have Miss Flo with us, the puppy. Hi. Oh. I don't know. I started the day off with my hair down, but it's, again, was pretty steamy here. So, but I don't know. I just kind of want it to be in a very femmy vibe. I don't want to like to say like feminine, because then that just sort of makes it seem like anyone who identifies as feminine like is into this sort of aesthetic. But you don't have to be into this aesthetic to identify as feminine. So, but yeah, just very kind of romantic. I don't know. I don't like to say girly either, but so I don't know. It just, I don't know, I just woke up and was like, I want to be pretty. So, excuse me. But I'm going to start with an oracle card. This I already drew. It is from I believe it's the Fairytale Oracle. And by the way, I bought a desk, or not a desk, but this table. I keep getting hiccups, by the way. We went to a thrift shop today and got some good finds, but I thought this table would be kind of nice for doing tarot on right now until I kind of find exactly what I'm looking for. But my yoga pillow is too short for it, and then my kid's beanbag chair I thought might work, but it's too short. So I'm sitting in my kid's beanbag chair, which they have like completely deflated. So here we are. But actually this is kind of more comfortable than just sitting on the yoga mat as I usually do. But okay. So I pulled from the Fairytale Oracle and again and I'll post these pictures, but I pulled the Snow White self-reflection, and it has the queen looking into the mirror. Now I don't normally, I'm not like big into like angel numbers and numerology. It's not really my thing. I don't often, like, a number has to be very like specific or just like super consistent for me to really give it any attention. But what did stand out to me about 42 is that it breaks down to 6, which in tarot is the Lovers, and you know, talking about self-reflection, and just thinking on how do we see ourselves and how do we show ourselves love. You know, yeah, I mean, I joke about like my mom arms, but like I do get a little self-conscious like showing my, you know, big old mom arms off. But I don't know, I'm kind of done with that thinking. I'm done with thinking that my worth and value and my beauty come from my like size and how I look. And so for me, I just really feel like this card in particular is asking us to truly look in the mirror and confront our fears, figure out why that triggers us, and go on a journey to love ourselves. And in whatever capacity that is for you. Like maybe for you, like you don't have a lot of hang-ups about your body, but maybe it's something else. Like we all have our things, right? So start reflecting on what truth is and not what we perceive it to be. Okay. Who's that? And now we are going to work with the, where should I put this? I'm in a very fairy tale vibe today. I don't really know why. The fairy tale cards are speaking to me. And this is a new deck. I've only had for a couple of days. It is the Tarot of the Divine. I think it's a little bit of the name, I don't think, oh no, card bent, doesn't quite fit the deck. Oh my god, they're not all coming out. These cards also don't like to fit in here. Okay, I'm not sure. Okay, I think we got them all. Okay. Oh, no, we do not. Oh my god, they're like, sorry, I have bent cards. Okay, now we got them all. Okay. This is, Tarot of the Divine, and they are designed with like fairy tales and folklore from around the world, which I really like. And so we're going to use these because I don't know, I'm very drawn right now to fairy tale vibes. So for it, like in this moment in particular, let's see here. Let's see. What is our message? I want these to go. Really? Okay. I am drawing from the top a lot lately. Okay. Let's see here. And today I actually do have another device. Hi, baby. Sorry, I need to unlock this. Open my eyes. Okay. Give me a second. I apologize. Okay, let's see if we can get it. I'm gonna scan these. Okay. We have the Hermit, we have the Page of Cups, and we have the Eight of Cups. Sorry, guys. Hermit, Page of Cups, Eight of Cups. Hermits are, you know, taking intentional, a time out is coming to my mind. That's an interesting way to say it, but taking intentional, my nose started itching again. Intentional moments of isolation, but not in a bad way. Often to connect with ourselves and with spirit, whatever that may be to you. Page of Cups, our pages are curious. They are, I often look at them as seekers because they're seeking knowledge. And our Eight of Cups, I mean, this is, you know, this is often looked at as walking away from something that it just wasn't working. You know, and walking towards something different, something that is more connected to like our heart, our passions. I think for many of us, the full moon is, because full moons are about revealing, releasing, showing the truth. And I think we're being asked to know it's okay. That what has come before, you know, whatever this pertains to for you individually, had to figure some things out, and we've all had to sit with ourselves and really get down in the dirt with ourselves, because I just, when things feel so out of control, or things just feel so wrong, things just don't make us feel good about our life, about our situations, and they don't have to be, major, it doesn't have to be necessarily be trauma. It certainly can be, but it doesn't have to necessarily be, a really significant, like, traumatic thing. But we all go through times and relationships and situations that just don't make us feel good. They just don't feel uplifting. And I think a lot of choices have had to be made. I think a lot of choices to start prioritizing things for us, and just really figuring out, like, what we want and where we want to go, and even like the types of relationships we want to be in. And I think many of us we walked away from things, but because it was time to. That's what I just heard. It was just time to. I think that's what I'm trying to get at here, and I'm trying to find the words, is that things come to an end, but that doesn't mean that it's because, like, oh, we failed at something, or like don't look at an ending always with a negative connotation. Life is about moving into new things, and sometimes that means leaving other things behind. In the Eight of Cups here, he's actually walking in like a moonlit sky, and the moon is often about things that are hidden, things that need to be revealed, so I think that moving away from things can often put us in a better position to find those new paths, find those things that are next in life. We do have 2 cups here. You can take it as love, romantic love, and I know that's many of us, that's something that we definitely want in our lives, is to have a very deep partnership with somebody who is emotionally intelligent, who is able to express themselves, but also able to allow us to express ourselves and not feel a way about it. To understand that we are just like, we just need to release, and we just need somebody there to hold us. And so I just, because I see this page as being in that energy of I've taken time to know what I want. I've taken time to understand myself. I've taken time to learn to love myself. And now I'm ready to embark on a journey where I find others who want to love me as much as I love myself. And again, this doesn't have to be romantic love, but I kind of feel like the message is moving in a direction of just, many of us are seeking love in all its forms, and not love for the sake of love, not love for the sake of, oh, I'm not alone anymore, but true love that uplifts, that is fulfilling, that, you know, like your people, they like see you, they get you, and you know, and having to have moved away from whatever circumstances you have, or maybe moving away from, that's not a bad thing. You know, it allows us to usher in new opportunities, new relationships, new beginnings. And certainly we want to walk away from things, you know, with as little drama as possible. But, you know, I think by starting to even think of, like, okay, I'm leaving this job, I'm leaving this relationship, I'm leaving this environment. Don't look at it as a bad thing, don't look at it as a failure. Even if the catalyst for it was not so great, but understand that, okay, so for example, much like my writing, I like to always bring it back to a personal thing. So I don't look at my 20-year marriage as a mistake, as a regret. Did I think I was going to be divorced? No. That is not something I wanted. But after, you know, years of things not changing and needs not being met, I had to make a choice. You know, it wasn't easy. And I still have my moments of like, why couldn't it have gone the way it went? But ultimately, like, I learned so much in that relationship. I'm still, I mean, obviously we co-parent, but we also have a friendship. Like, that is intact. And I got my kids. Like, yes, I can sit and think on, like, oh, like, I didn't want to be divorced in my 40s and dealing with this, but instead I just, and also this, like, took lots of me being a hermit, right, to figure this shit out. But just the point is that, like, walking away doesn't have to be a big dramatic negative thing. And I think focusing back on that self-love, if we love ourselves enough, sometimes we know that a certain thing, person, environment, what have you, is just not right for us anymore. And walking away is okay. Now, obviously there's things we can't walk away from, because I get very frustrated in readings when I hear that. I'm like, well, I can't walk away from my kids. Not that I would want to, but I just mean, like, they're a stress. Anybody who has kids or is a guardian or caregiver, like, you understand. Like, there is a level of distress in that. But or maybe, like, you are the breadwinner, you're a single parent, like, you can't just up and quit your job, especially in this day and age. But, you know, so I certainly do not want to be like, oh, just walk away and go find your happiness, because that's not how reality works. But I think we can start being more conscious of what we enjoy and of what we want. And I don't know, this is aging me, but if anybody remembers the movie, I think it was Office Space. And it's just this guy who just hates his job. And all these, it's the 90s movie, so all these shenanigans go on. I haven't watched it in years and years, so it's probably problematic. But in the end, like, he realizes, like, okay, like, your job's your job. Your job is not your life. And he meets Jennifer Aniston, who's working at TGI Fridays. And there's this moment where they're having this conversation, and she's like, yeah, everybody hates their job. Like, you know, but that's why we, like, have connections. That's why we have friendships and relationships. That's why we have hobbies and interests, because, like, our work shouldn't be our life. Our work shouldn't be our identity. You know, we go to work because we live in a capitalist, I mean, this is not in the movie, but, like, we go to work because we live in this capitalist society right now, that, you know, like, we need to do that in order to live. But then we get to come home. And are we spending time with people who really love us? Are we engaging in things that make us feel love and joy? You know, maybe coming home and doom scrolling for hours is probably not uplifting and edifying for any of us. Now, you know, if anybody who's watched it before knows, you know, I am a political activist. You know, I think that's a very important part of our life and our reality, but that doesn't mean, like, I'm just constantly watching the news and on social media. You know, I take breaks. I sometimes will step back, you know, restore a little bit before, you know, kind of super getting active again. That's okay. But I just think we're being invited to understand who we are and what we want. And I think this full moon is offering us that opportunity to really sit and not just sit for 5 minutes, you know, sip some water, like, really do some hard work. I'm a big advocate for therapy if that's something you have access to. Unfortunately, particularly here in the States, that's not available to everybody, but if it is, I would say take advantage of that. You know, shadow work can be a little controversial. I don't think everybody needs to do it, especially if that's not something you're interested in, but for me in particular, it was a very helpful thing. You know, working with ancestors and doing a lot of journaling and just really, like, things that I thought I fully understood. You know, it's not that I didn't understand them fully, but there was more work I need to do to kind of step outside of certain wounds still causing a lot of pain. But to just really, like, know what I want and reacquaint myself to myself. I don't like when people say find yourself, because it sounds like I think we're always here. Like, that part of us always exists. We just don't always have access to it. But, you know, once we figure that shit out, we can start seeking the heart-fulfilling things. And sometimes it's going to involve moving away, but that's okay. That's okay. Do you have anything else for us? Any other messages for us? Any other messages for us about the full moon? So this is an app called Be My Eyes. Huh. Queen of Wands. Hi, baby. So Queen of Wands here, but just so on this device, on this phone, I am using an app called Be My Eyes. It is, I mean, it's a free app, but it's specifically made for blind and low vision people. It's actually created by a blind guy from, I believe, Sweden, one of those Northern European countries. And it initially started out as what is called a visual interpreting app, where you can actually connect with real people for whatever purpose. You know, you need something, you know, in print read, you know, figure out like, oh, is this the right location I was looking for? Whatever it is. But then the last few years, there is a version or a part of the app where you can take pictures, and then there is an AI component, and this will be like one of the rare times you hear me like talk about AI and be like, yay, where an AI description is provided, and it's pretty accurate. But so anyway, just so everyone knows, now it is not interpreting the card for me. It is just literally telling me what it is and what's in the image. What you doing? Are you okay? What you doing, baby? Just smelling. Ooh, what we smell? So the Queen of Wands, that's a really powerful energy. I think we're being asked to, we're being invited to, you know, the Queen of Wands is, she's often referred to as the witch of the tarot, because she can transmute. You know, she can take, I mean, she can alchemize. You know, she can, you know, work, manipulate energy. That's what I'm trying to say. What do you smell, baby? But she can work with, manipulate energy to, I don't know, I mean, literally create magic. So, I think the full moon, if we take the opportunity, and if we kind of take the opportunity that's being, that we're being invited into here, where can you find ways to make magic in your life? Now, you know, I understand not everybody is an actual magical practitioner, so take that as you will. If you do, you know, literally work with energy and creating magic, obviously I don't really need to explain much to you. But you know, if you don't, that doesn't mean you have to like have a magical practice. If you want to, great. But literally just finding like the small things that give you joy, and then using that energy to create. That could be creating a mood, a vibe, literally creating something. Using that energy to manipulate our perspective. That's what I just heard. That's interesting. I like that. So for example, like if you like to have like a morning like coffee or tea, really sit and sip it and think, how does this feel in my body? How is it making me feel? Then use that energy to you know, accomplish what you want to accomplish. Meaning, whether it's literally things like chores around the house to get them done, give you that energy. You know, if you're not in the greatest mood, use that energy to shift the mood. If there's some chaos happening around your life, what happens when you take that energy and kind of spin the chaos on its head and try and look at things with a new perspective? Don't lick my tarot cards. What you doing? Hi, baby. You're so cute. But that's literally what a magical practice is. And again, you don't have to have that. You don't have to be into that. But like, there are actual scientific studies done on, you know, how energy can do certain things. And I always like to say, like, people talk a lot about visualization, and I do visualize stuff, but I've really shifted into moving how things feel in my body, because visualizing it, you know, often you can get a physical response from that, but I like to focus on the physical response more, because when you're actually in the moment of a thing, that's what you feel, is the physical, visceral response in your body. And so, you know, if we are able to do that in our daily lives, I mean, think of what we could do. Think of what's possible. So, yeah, I think that's kind of our closing message, is understanding that you know, the full moon is inviting us to really pause and reflect and learn to love ourselves. And from that point, because when we know what our worth is, when our worth and our value and our ability to be loved is no longer based around these external physical things, I don't know, I just feel like we're so much more open to different things, and when those perspective shifts happen, I think we start to naturally alchemize and create energy that allows us to shift things for ourselves, but also for other people. Because I always like to take it back to that, because even those of us on a love journey, it's not just about us sitting here and waiting for someone to come love us, because we also have to be loving others. We have to be putting that energy. And when I say putting that energy out, I'm not talking about in terms of like karma or you know, these things can't happen to you unless you're like constantly in this vibration. I just mean, though, that like, if we're not showing love, we're probably not loving ourselves first. Because I think that's probably the biggest problem in the world, and why a lot of the people in power are awful people. Because please don't get on my tarot spread. What are you doing? Hi. Oh, don't do that. Please don't get on my tarot spread. She's like, are you doing your head or your paw? Like up on this yoga pillow that I'm using as a table. But I think it's because they don't really love themselves. So, you know, and they think that their worth and value comes from money and power, and really that's nothing. That because they're awful people. So clearly that is not our source of love. But I think that allows us then to, I don't know, work with energy, manipulate energy in our life to understand what deep love means, because we've done that with ourselves. So yeah, I think that's what the full moon is inviting us to do, is to maybe release some things, whether that be physical, emotional, mental, what have you, and really just learn who we are, really learn to love and value ourselves for who we are as a person and nothing else, you know, and then shift into this Queen of Wands and What are you doing? You gonna go over there now? You gonna lay on the blanket? You know, find ways to be our own source of magic. And again, that doesn't have to be literal. It can be. But just things that like move you and light you up. Let those be guides to sort of lead you through the insanity of life. So I hope this makes sense, all my beauties. I really enjoy coming on and doing readings. It just, I don't know, I really do enjoy it. I hope you are enjoying this. If you are, please like, subscribe, all the fun things. Okay, kitty, okay, you're fine. Okay, before they literally become a cat and dog fighting, I'm gonna go ahead and end this, but thank you for being here. Have a wonderful Sunday, and I just hope you all take this invitation of what the full moon is revealing for us. And, you know, as always, I just send so much love and positivity and safety.